Hello?
Hi, is this Marion?
It is indeed.
All right, well, let me do the official introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, we are very honored to welcome our featured guest for this evening. She is an actress of stage and screen and an author of the new book, My Days, Happy and Otherwise. We're very excited to welcome the one and only Marion Ross to the show. You're on the air with Terry and Tiffany. Welcome.
Well, Terry and Tiffany, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
You know, we saw a picture. You did a taping of a network show that's going to be on, I believe, on Monday. And I saw a picture of you with her friend Holden, and I couldn't believe how young you look. You are so beautiful still.
Oh, thank you, darling. You know how old I am? I am 89.
Wow.
89.
And I swear to God,
so and very well, and still, you know, kind of sane, kind of sensible.
Well, I don't know what you do. Like, seriously, you look like you're maybe 40 years old or 45. I guess it's just that you're a happy, perky person. Could you say that?
Well, yes, I have learned to be a happy person, you know, and I'm very grateful to be at the place that I'm at. And I didn't want to write this book, but my son, Jim Meskimen, was after me, and he brought this author to my house, and the next thing I know, you know, they have me pinned down on the floor, and I'm talking to them, you know.
I think the great thing that this book is going to do is because, I mean, even with me, of course, everybody knows Happy Days. I don't think there's anybody on earth that has not seen that show, but a lot of people, for some reason, we're not aware of all the things you've done, and you pretty much go into that in your book about things you've done before Happy Days as well as Happy Days, right?
Well, you know, I was under contract to Paramount Studios when I was 22, so I have had a long, successful career. I never had a job. I never had a job anywhere else, ever. And a damn good thing, because I don't know how to do anything, you know, so that's good.
Well, let's talk a little bit about what readers are in store for with the book. Now, does the book kind of take them on the entire journey of your career? Does it kind of start out at the beginning? Because you started out on Broadway first, right, on stage?
No, I didn't start out on Broadway. No, I started out at Paramount. I wanted to be a stage actor. Yes. And I would go to the library and read who's who of famous people, you know, and I would read lives of actors like Noel Coward. Are you familiar with Noel Coward?
I am. I'm old.
Aren't. Yes, all right. Okay. Anyway, so I read his book, which Present Indicative. He wrote this autobiography. And you know something, I'm like 15 years library in Albert Lee, Minnesota. By the time I'm 25, I was in Hollywood in a production of Blithe Spirit, starring Sir Noel Coward and Claude Bear and Lauren Bacall, and I played Edith, the Cockney maid. And can you believe that? I mean, what is that?
Wow! I don't suppose you remember any of that accent that you can do for us, can you?
Not offhand. Not offhand. I'm an actor, but we actors like to prepare.
Right.
Absolutely.
Now, you know, I think it's fascinating because in reading about you, Marion, you're the perfect example of if somebody wants something and they try and they have it in their head that it's going to happen, it's going to happen. I understand that at the age of 13, you made a change to your name in the spelling because of why?
Oh, even younger. At 16. At 16, I got a little prayer book. I'm an Episcopalian, and my name was printed on the front of it, Marion Ross, with Marian, which is how I am christened. And I thought, well, that's not going to look good on a marquee. No. So I changed the spelling.
That's fantastic. Now, I know that...
I'm so glad you're laughing. I'm so glad you're laughing because I think it's all just a scream. It's an absolute scream.
Now, I understand that your debut film, I believe, was Forever Female, and that was alongside a little somebody people might know named Ginger Rogers, right?
Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Well, I was under contract to Paramount, so they had to use us somehow, And it was so funny because it was a very insignificant part. She was gorgeous to me, gave me a bouquet of flowers. I mean, we started production, and the director, Irving Rapper, would say, he thought I looked like Greer Garson. So he'd say, Miss Garson, what do you think about that? Like the script. What do I think about the script? Mm-hmm. Well, I didn't notice that none of the other actors, William Holden, Paul Douglas, nobody else had comments. So I'm a college graduate. I had comments. I had opinions.
Well, obviously,
the next day he'd say, and Miss Carson, what do you think about that? And I would have the full opinion.
That's hilarious. Wow.
I kind of noticed that nobody else did, so I smartened up. Well, realized they were kind of making fun of me.
Growing up at Paramount the way you did, what an education that was. Being a young ingenue and working with all these big people that you worked, and it certainly goes beyond further than Ginger Rogers. I mean, you worked with so many people. How did they treat young stars? I mean, here they are, they're superstars, they're established, they're icons, and so big and famous, and it was the golden days of Hollywood. How did they treat a young girl, a new actress in the biz, under contract with Paramount like you were?
I love these questions. These are wonderful questions because they sent us up to be photographed. First of all, they would send you up to makeup and have you remade, redo your face and everything.
Uh-huh.
And then they would send you to Edith Head's wardrobe and outfit you in some beautiful evening gown. Oh. And I looked on the inside of the evening gown, and written on a little tape, it said Joan Fontaine.
Oh, okay.
So that was Joan Fontaine's evening gown. Okay. So then they give you a handsome young actor to go with, and they whoosh you off to a premiere down Hollywood Boulevard in a big limousine, and the Klieg lights are flashing across the sky, and you pull up to Grauman's Chinese, and you step out, and the crowd is screaming, "Oh, it's nobody!"
Wow. I just think it's I think like your life was chiseled out in stone by God, because to start out Paramount, and then you wound up with Happy Days at Paramount, and it's like, okay, this is my home. I've been here forever. Yeah, I imagine when all the new cast members came in, Ron Howard and everybody, you showed everybody where everything was because you've been there forever.
Well, it is quite amazing. I do at this now at my advanced age. I do think there was a hand over me all this time,
right.
and I didn't need to worry so much. If this would have happened anyway, no, I don't know.
Well, we had kind of.
You know what?
Go ahead.
When I was about, I'm trying to think. When I was about 25, it occurred to me. I would read the trades all the time.
Sure.
Do you children read the trades? No, but I don't know if people read the trades anymore.
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
I would read them, and I would. It occurred to me that it was all about publicity.
Yeah.
So I hired a press agent.
Wow, there you go.
Wasn't that for a 25-year-old girl? Yeah.
that you had your head.
That was back in the day, though, and I have to say that we really appreciate people that still have this mentality, but it was in the time when actors, sometimes they wanted to, sometimes they didn't, but they always did it anyway. They actually still did press. And a lot of times, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, studio contracts, I believe it was in the contract that you had to do press. Nowadays, actors are like, yeah, I know I did a movie last week. I don't care. I'm not going to promote it.
Oh, God. You should... Once you get the lay of the land, you see that it's all about press. That's one of the important tools you have. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Now, we had asked you kind of what it was like when you were fairly new in the business and working with established actors and because you'd worked with people not only like Ginger Rogers, but Lauren Bacall and Humphrey Bogart and things like that. But what about flipping that question? So what about when you did Happy Days, okay, you're an established actress, you had been doing your craft for a long time, and they're bringing in fairly new whippersnappers at the time, people like Aaron Moran and, I guess Ron Howard had been in the business since he was a munchkin. But what was it like for you with all of these new, kids that were wet behind the ears, and how did they relate to you on Happy Days?
That's a wonderful question because, and here was Tom Bosley, who had just come from, he had won the Tony on Broadway for the musical Fiorello. So here it is. Well, this is a big deal. He's a Tony winner. So he and I went to Gary Marshall and we said, could we please have bigger parts? Could we have more that we do? We don't get to do very much.
Good
and
for you.
He said, no. It's not about you. It's about the kids.
Wow.
So we just shut up. We never asked again.
A lot of people don't remember that Happy Days came from an episode of Love American Style. Okay, and I was there. I'm an original viewer. I saw it when it was new. And the father was not played by Tom Bosley. It was a different actor, and then it became Tom Bosley. Is that right?
Well, the father in the Love American Style is played by... his name just jumped away from me. He's a wonderful actor, wonderful man. And Tom was not available, I think, so that's why we couldn't get Tom. But, how can I have lost his name? Anyway, he was wonderful. It'll come jumping up again. Harold Gould.
There you go.
You know what a good part? He was in he was in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, or one of these, and he played... No, he was in another one with. Anyway, he played a real slick, underworld kind of guy. He was fabulous. He's a wonderful man. He's living now, and Tom Bosley is not living.
Yeah.
So you're lucky you caught me. You're lucky you caught me today.
Don't say that, Marion.
You're not going anywhere.
You're not going nowhere. You've been around for a long time, and we want to hang on to you. I mean, you think about the fact that people has passed away. Okay, you have a huge moniker that you carry, and that's one of TV's beloved moms, and there's not a whole lot of them left either. And you stand alone with Mrs. Partridge and a few others, but
right, Doris. That's right. Shirley Jones and I are left. Florence Henderson is gone. Doris Roberts is gone. It's funny. That's why I don't care. You tell why I don't. Thinking, well, look at this. I'm still alive. Grateful.
Well, I think it's.
And I don't know. Hollywood has changed a lot, but it's pretty wonderful. Pretty wonderful.
So you got Ron Howard to do the opening forward to your book. So tell me about getting Ron. Was he like, yes, Mom, I'll do it for you?
I think so. Yes, there was no question at all. So then when he did that and he wrote this wonderful foreword, and then they come to me and they said, "Oh, now we want to put the book on tape. We'll record the whole book." Mm-hmm. So then I had to call Ron and say, "Ron, do you think you would record that now?" And he said, "Of course."
Well, you know what? It doesn't matter how.
He's a pretty busy guy, you know.
I was going to say, it doesn't matter how big of a
movie.
Doesn't matter how big of a director he is now. You're still mom.
Yeah.
Well,
it was 10 years of fun, I must say.
We have Ron Howard that became the biggest director in the world, and then we have your other son that kind of disappeared off the show, Chuck.
Chuck.
What the hell ever happened to Chuck? I mean, why didn't Chuck come back on the show? Did they ever tell you?
We didn't need him. We didn't
There you go.
We would make jokes among each other. We said, listen, go up to the attic, and if you see Chuck up there, don't say anything.
Well, you kind of had another son on the show in a way, and his name was Arthur Fonzarelli. And I'm telling you straight out, your scenes with him were so classic. We just recently posted off of YouTube the wonderful blooper reel, and I love the part where Henry Winkler starts making out with you. Did that?
No.
Did that take you as surprise?
And the audience was happy. You know, it's like the afternoon show.
Uh-huh.
We do the show in the afternoon, all these kids. So, I tell you, so the Fonz is kissing me. Tom made Tom mad. You could see Tom. He looks very angry. You know. Then such a hush fell over the audience that we stopped. And got everybody back to earth, you know.
Well, you know, the thing about Tom, I noticed that he's a very serious actor and really an artist and really into what he did. And I've seen a couple other TV shows where they played pranks on him. He didn't have a real good humor about that, did he?
He did and he didn't.
Okay.
He did and he didn't. But, no, he's not a foolish man.
Right.
Like the rest of us were foolish. Jerry Paris was our director, and he was very foolish. Brilliant, but also very foolish, you know.
Yeah.
Well, in talking about hijinks on the set of Happy Days, we actually had on a couple of weeks ago, we had on Anson Williams for an interview to talk about his new Alert Drops product. And he said, we said, if you had one question for us to ask Marion in a few weeks when she's on, what would it be? And he said, well, he goes, I pretty much know everything about Marion. He says, but... He said, ask Marion to tell your listeners what we did or always tried to do to her before the live taping every week.
In other words, there was a ritual before you guys came out in front of the audience.
Well, we would all, you know, be all orderly and all dressed up and all made up. We were all perfect. We were perfect, waiting to go on. And we're backstage, being very quiet, and then if I would keep my eye open because one of those guys was going to get me back there backstage, you know. And so I spent a lot of time avoiding them, and I didn't want to be grabbed and hustled and hugged and kissed and all this stuff in the backstage. I would say to somebody, "Where are they? Show me where are they? I'm onto them. I'm on my guard." But they would always get me anyway. So that by the time I went out to meet the audience, I was all rumpled.
Well, you know, you're being
you make me laugh. You make me laugh so hard.
You talk about being a lady, and you're certainly a lady. But I noticed when Henry Winkler grabbed you, you didn't fight back a lot. I mean, I don't blame you.
And you know, did you know that we had a wonderful softball team?
I know. I used to see pictures of that. Did you play yourself?
I did.
Wow.
It was softball. I played rover, which is an extra fielder in the infield, you know.
Uh-huh.
But I could hit. Good.
Wow.
So my thing was, if I could hit and get on, then the boys could get me in, you know. Mm-hmm. So after I hit, I would put my arms up. I would run with my arms up, and they didn't want to hit that fine old lady, so they would overthrow first base.
Wow. I've got to ask you, classic TV, I love it so much, and you have a connection because you knew some people and were friends, and even used to go to the conventions for Dark Shadows. Who did you know from Dark Shadows?
Oh, the love of my life, Mr. Paul Michael, whom I met when I was 60 years old. We had a great romance and wonderful laugh together. And he played Johnny Romano on Dark Shadows. So I went with him once to some conventions for Dark Shadows sometimes. He was a very handsome, he had light gray eyes and an olive complexion and dark hair, very handsome, Lebanese. I loved him, and a great singer, and a great actor.
Wow. It's too bad they don't have... Has there ever been any word of Happy Days conventions? Because the Dark Shadows conventions are so much fun. It would be great to have Happy Days conventions.
No, the children are too busy. The children are and too successful.
Right. Now, I know we had talked about earlier you having a love for stage, and I wanted you to talk a little bit about, because you received critical acclaim for your Broadway and national tour in Arsenic and Old Lace, and that was with Gene Stapleton, right?
Yes, and the great Larry Storch. He played, he was in it too, and the Dark Shadows villain. I can't think of anybody's name tonight, but anyway, we toured the U.S. Can you believe that? And I'd never done that before. And Gene Stapleton became my very, very, very best friend. What a wonderful one!
I can totally see
what a good time I've had. Yeah.
Well, you received the crown and glory. What did you feel like when you got your star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame?
Oh my God, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And there was some bum in the street. He said, "Hey, what's all of this about?" I tried to explain to him, and I said, "Well, because I'm famous." And I got my stuff. Well, good for you, he said. Well, good for you. Oh, God.
Well, you know what they say. You can't impress all the people all the time, so...
Right.
No.
Now, it talks about, with your book, and just kind of give our listeners a little bit of a teaser, it says that one of the quotes from the press release is, TV's happiest mother delves into on- and off-screen struggles. So, for your book, I mean, is it all sugar and happiness, or do you kind of go into everything? Because obviously, people have good and bad in their lives.
Well, I had trouble with Tom Bosley, so that was kind of a negative thing. For the first couple of years, he didn't like the fact that he had to be married to me. So that was kind of a difficult thing. And then we became very, very close after he got to know me. But he was a very big star by the time Happy Days started, and I was not very important. Also, you must know lots of actors. This is a very up and down kind of career.
Right.
And then I had a divorce. I got divorced when I was 40. And I had 2 children to raise.
Right.
And nobody had a job. So, and this was before Happy Days. So Happy Days kind of saved my neck.
Right.
Well,
I think it's, I just want to say, just off the record, that I think it's wonderful that even later on you found great love, and your love there kind of reminds me of Hepburn and Spencer Tracy. I think it's fantastic.
It's so lovely. He was like 62 and I was 60, but I felt like I was a young girl when I was with him. We were just wonderful together, and my children said, "Oh my God." He said, my son would say, "They're going to burn the house down."
Well, I must say, I'm so glad that you and the rest of the cast went in and fought for some back pay that you were very much deserved when you guys had a lawsuit against Paramount, because I guess that whole thing happened because somebody told you were on a pinball machine or something?
Well, I think the boys, it started with the boys. I think Anson and Johnny and the boys all started it because they had a lot of products out there, board games, and they had a lot of stuff, and they were not getting paid for those. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't done right.
Yeah.
So I went to Las Vegas to visit some friends, and oh my gosh, there was a Happy Days big roulette wheel.
Uh-oh.
And I thought, I gotta get out of here. I don't want anybody taking my picture of me smiling while I look at that.
Yeah, it's like you're endorsing it, sure.
Something that we did not agree to. We were not paid for. It was the guys hired a lawyer, and they won the case.
Wow. Well, I'm glad for Anson, too, because he was telling when he was on the show about that terrible thing that happened to him when he tried to get into the restaurant business with Al, and that all went to pot. So, you guys deserve that money. I mean, just because you played a character don't mean they have a right to your face. I mean...
Well, I think we spent it now.
Yeah.
It's gone,
See, you're going to Vegas. If you don't go to Vegas... I'm in awe with everything you've done, and you've done all my favorite shows. To know that you were on The Lawn Ranger and Thriller and The Outer Limits, those are like three of my favorite shows. Outside of Happy Days, what is the most favorite thing you've ever done?
Well, I did a series called Brooklyn Bridge. You children probably never saw it. It only ran about, might have made 30 shows. But that also was done at Paramount. It was made for Gary Goldberg, who did Family Ties. I was very proud of being in that. I was playing a Jewish-Polish grandmother.
Oh, okay.
Can you believe it? And I was really wonderful. I was really wonderful. So the series didn't last long, but I was thrilled with that show.
Well, we actually have something in common. I want to be letting you go here soon, but we actually have something in common. We were both, because I did like a little stint, a little acting, not anything big, but we were both on the Gilmore Girls. Now, when I was on that set, that was the unhappiest set I was ever on in my life. They were fighting and nobody was happy. Did you find that it was an unhappy set?
No, what I found, because they wanted me to come on and play the grandmother, and I was not old enough, but I admired the show so much. I thought I can do it. I want to do it.
Right.
I want to do it. So what I found, it was far too many words. I mean, you never shut up. There were 1,000 words, and after you memorize it, could you just speed that up a little bit? What? Speed? Okay, now I got to speed that. Oh my God! It was almost more than I can handle. So I didn't have time to see if anybody was unhappy, and that was probably why people were unhappy. It was too much work.
Right.
You know something? You're right.
Pressure.
Yeah.
You hit it right on the head, Marion. Because when I was on the show, that's what the main actors, the mother and the daughter, and that's what they were complaining about. Is there was too many words in the script, and they called down the writer and they made him rewrite it, and he didn't want to, and he got mad. and you're right. You're right.
Well, before we wrap things up, I wanted to go ahead.
That was Amy Palladino, Yes. Amy Palladino created that show, and she's got this kind of a mind. It's a wonderful show.
Yes. I wanted to let our listeners know, though, that your book, My Days, Happy and Otherwise, is out, and you are going on a book signing tour. Your first actual book signing is going to be a couple of days from now. It's Tuesday, March 27th at 7 p.m. at the Barnes & Noble at the Grove and Farmers Market in L.A. And then the very next day, Wednesday, March 28th at 7 p.m., you're going to be at Vroman's in Pasadena on Colorado Boulevard. And then you have 2 dates in April as well. Tuesday, April 10th from 7 to 8:30, you're going to be at the Glendale Public Library library on Harvard Street. And Saturday, April 14th, from 3 to 5 p.m., you're going to be at the Santa Monica Library Author Forum on Santa Monica Boulevard. Now, what is it like for you, Marion, when you get to meet the fans and things like that? And I have to know, I would imagine everybody just wants to hug Mrs. C.
Yes, they do. So I look forward to it, and I'll have some kind of a keeper there that will say to me, "Don't keep talking to the same person all the time. Come on, move on, because I have a good time with all of that, And we'll see if I can hold up. In fact, I'm going to New York like April 2.
Oh.
And we'll do some of that in New York for a while.
Wow.
Boy, you're almost.
We'll see if I can do this. Okay.
Oh, I know you can do it, and it's almost like you're on tour, like a rock star.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, we were so happy to have you on, and we had Anson, and we had the beautiful Erin Moran on too. I'm so sorry that she passed, Marion. I know that you guys were all close,
unbelievably, and we had a wonderful wake here, and just for the cast, and it was not too long ago we had this here at the house, and even my son wanted to come. I said, "No, you can't, Jim. You can't come. It's just for us.
Yeah.
It's just for the family. It's my own son." So,
well, I'm so glad we had a chance to have Erin on. And as far as you, I will have you on this show again in maybe 25 years, and then you can tell us all about your next book and your new hit TV series. It's probably a Happy Day sequel or something. I don't know. So,
once again, I want all of our listeners to pick up a copy of Marion's book. If you have a chance, go out and meet her. Get your book signed. But the book is called My Days, Happy and Otherwise. And the very first LA book signing is going to be at the Grove on Tuesday, March 27th at 7 p.m. at the Barnes & Noble. Thank you, Marion, not only for joining us tonight, not only for the book and sharing your memories with us, but also all of the wonderful projects and entertainment that you've given all of us.
Well, you're both so gracious. I've had a wonderful time.
Well, thank you so much. And have fun on your book signing, because I have a feeling that you have more energy than I do, and I'm only 34 years old. So.
And you know something? I think you already know how much people love you, and I think it was a pretty good idea that you knew people loved you when you got to star in the Walk of Fame. When you see the lines of people that you're going to have at this book signing, you're going to sit there and you're going to say, "Wow." You watch, it'll happen.
Really? You think so?
I know so.
All right. I'll let you know. Okay?
All right. Okay, you do that.
All right. Thank you, Marion, and have a great rest of your weekend. All right.
Thank you, darling, so much.
Thank you so much.
I had a good time with you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.